Now, there's been a lot of talk about federal workers potentially being fired during these layoffs, during this period, during the shutdown, and most of those agencies are still reeling from the Trump administration's DOGE cuts.
Yeah, tonight we're taking a closer look at the impact of the federal workforce with John Hatton, who's been so kind to be here with us. He's from the National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association. John, we were just talking here. I mean, this has been the longest year for federal workers here in our area in a very long time. How are you steeling them for the work they have to do and the shutdown that we're in already?
It's very difficult. It's been, as you said, a very trying year in terms of facing reduction in force actions, these DOGE cuts, the cancellation of entire programs. And I think it's just important for people in the public to continue to recognize the value of that public service. And really unfortunate that we have a government shutdown now. I think it starts to highlight some of the things that federal government employees do when things start to close down. And that's not even most things. A lot of things continue to go on. So I think people appreciating what public servants do day in and day out is the best thanks we can give right now in very difficult times.
Yeah, so tell us what life is like right now, what the mood is like for these federal workers who have either been furloughed or who are still working and not getting paid.
It's exhaustion. Right now, until they haven't missed a paycheck yet. If this goes on for an extended amount of time, they start to miss some paychecks. This is going to be, a full government shutdown in terms of the last one, which was long, around 35 days. A number of agencies were already had their funding approved. So the biggest one that's not there right now is Department of Defense, and so that's the largest employing agency in the government. That's going to be shut down. That is like half of their 700,000 or more employees are not going to be working. So I think the scope of the impact of this is going to be greater than we've seen before. 750,000 people furloughed, $400 million a day in wasted taxpayer dollars.
It's a lot to kind of wrap your mind around, just the numbers and just the vastness of all of this. So let's get a little more tactile here. What does this shutdown mean for federal employees and retirees? Who's working? Who's furloughed? Who still gets paid when all of this ends?
So each agency comes up with their contingency plans. They determine who's accepted or essential. There's law, the Anti-Deficiency Act, which determines, are you necessary to protect property, protect life? Do you have funding that's provided in something else? Those people still work. They don't necessarily get paid until a government shutdown ends. Other people are furloughed, and so they're temporarily out of work, also missing paychecks. When the government reopens, a law passed during the last shutdown would guarantee those people back pay. The newest wrinkle in this, which is really frustrating to say the least, is that the administration has said they're going to start permanently separating people. They're going to give them RIF notices, reduction in force notices. That takes a little time to play out, but the intent is that they're going to permanently fire people because of the shutdown, not just say temporarily you're out of work. We haven't seen that come yet. The latest reporting we've seen is they may do that in the next day or so, but the Office of Management and Budget has directed agencies to consider these RIFs for people that work in programs, projects, and activities that are not consistent with the president's priorities.
All right, John, so you had a lot of good points there. You made a lot of points, and we talked about this back pay. What's the timeline? When the government does reopen, how soon are these workers getting that pay?
It will depend on where it stays in the pay period. So it should be the next paycheck that comes. Hopefully the timing of when the government reopens and then the next paycheck gives enough time for that to happen. But ideally, it would be that next paycheck for the existing pay period that they would get that back pay.
There are a lot of people who just joined the federal workforce who are going through this and going, whoa, what did I get myself into? So for active employees, right, how is the pay? How is the health insurance, the retirement credit, the leave accrual? How is this impacted if this lasts more than one pay period?
So people retain their health benefits and many of their benefits, and they aren't going to be required to pay that out of their own pocket. It'll be paid back through their next paycheck when they come back. And so they should still be okay. Once you start getting past a month or two, it might change the story a little bit depending on the type of benefit you're looking at. But you still retain those health benefits.
All right, so what about people who were in that deferred resignation program or halfway through that retirement process? What does this look like for them?
We'll see. I mean, I think there's going to be challenges anyway, regardless of the shutdown, with processing all those retirements. I think we saw the latest information we saw from OPM, there might be 60,000 or so retirements.
Wow. 60,000?
60,000.
Is that the most in one sort of period?
It's a lot.
Well,
typically, you might see about 10,000. I think January was a little bit higher. Usually January is maybe upwards of 16,000. And other months you might have as low as around 6,000. So you have 60,000. That's anybody who took that. What really happened was anybody who took the deferred resignation program and they were eligible for retirement, their last day was going to be September 30th. So that was the estimate OPM had based on their online retirement application system.
And they're hoping that paycheck comes for them before it gets caught up in all of this.
First, they have to go to an interim pay status, and then they have to have the final adjudication of their retirement claim. So just getting those 60,000 people to interim pay status, which can be as low as 40% of your retirement annuity, may take a little bit of time. This all assumes all those applications have been sent from the agencies to OPM. And there has been some guidance from the administration that people that are necessary to process these deferred resignation program offboardings would still be working as essential. We have to see how that plays out. We are certainly concerned that everybody who's leaving the government is going to have their retirement applications finished by the agencies, sent to OPM, and then OPM has to start to process that. So there's a lot that could go wrong, and we're certainly concerned about potential delays.
So we talked about back pay, we talked about these concerns about people who accepted this DOGE plan and are retiring and waiting for the money. But what about people who need resources now? What is your organization doing to get to them? What do federal families need to know this week?
Yeah, we always try to provide as many up-to-date resources for our members, for the public. We have a shutdown resources page that will give you all the answers and all the resources you could hope for, and if not, our members can call us up and ask specific questions about general rules. We have webinars that go over things like health benefits, how the retirement process works. We had one specifically for all these people about to retire, kind of what does it look like, what to expect, when to expect your benefits in terms of retirement and in health benefits in retirement.
All right, John, so you touched on this earlier. A lot of agencies were told to prepare those RIF plans or to prepare to permanently eliminate jobs. What is your take on that?
I think it's taking advantage of the shutdown and an indication of not good faith negotiations, right? You are using public servants as political pawns in this process. And frankly, we've never seen it before, and there's good reason. If the government is reopened, the law will likely say, even under the House passed continuing resolution, these programs would need to be carried out. You can't carry out a program with 0 employees. So if they completely, we haven't seen the exact number of people they're planning to RIF and reduce, but we have to see, it could result in failure to perform the functions of the government.
John, one of the most frequent questions we've received from people is questions about the airport, right? We know about the airport operations. We know TSA workers are essential. They got to be there whether they're getting paid or not. And boy, do you really want them to be paid, and air traffic controllers too. But they're going to have to do this without pay. I mean, these are some really important functions, right, for everyday life here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last shutdown ended as you saw people calling in sick for air traffic controllers. I think with the way federal employees have been treated recently, I think the eagerness of people to continue working without pay may be even less than it was before.
So when we talk about delays, we mean delays because there aren't enough people to process all the people who need to get through the airport.
Right. At some point, people are just not going to continue working without getting paid, right?
Yeah.
What point that is, I don't know. but you can't go on forever.
All right, so we're into day one. What are you hearing from folks? We've been through this before. Are a lot of people concerned? Are they sort of saying we have done this before, we know how this is going to play out?
Some people,
prepared?
Yeah, I think some people have maybe a sense of what it has been like in the past, but obviously this isn't new uncharted territory in terms of potentially getting fired permanently from the position. So in the short term, as people are kind of awaiting those actions, there's a whole new level of uncertainty.
All right.
Wow.
John Hatton.
It's a lot to get through, and let's hope that this shutdown ends quickly so that all these people who are caught in the middle, who had nothing to do with this, can return to their lives.
I hope so too.
All right, John, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.